We're still Bava Metzia,
Yeah, Gimel Yud Beis.
Himmel Yud Beis. If one uses the deposit for his own purposes, Beit Shammai say he must suffer whether he loses his value or it gains. Beis Hillel says at the time of being taken out, Rabbi Akiva says at the time of the claim. If one intends to take a deposit for his own use, Beit Shammai says he's liable. Beis Hillel says he is not liable until he uses it for his own purposes, as is said, he has not put forth his hand on the other's good. How? If he tilted the cask and took a quarter of a log from it and it broke, he pays only for a quarter of a log. If he lifted it and took a quarter of a log from it and it broke, he must pay its entire value. Gold acquires silver, but silver does not acquire gold. Copper acquires silver, but silver does not acquire copper. Disqualified coins acquire current ones, but current ones do not acquire disqualified ones. Unstamped metal acquires coins, but coins do not acquire unstamped metal. Movables acquire coins, but coins do not acquire movables. This is the rule. All movables acquire each other. How? If he took produce from him, but he did not give him money, he cannot retract. If he gave him money, but did not take the produce from him, he can retract. They said, however, he who exactly retribution from the people of the generation of the flood and the generation of the dispersion will exact retribution from one who does not abide by the spoken word. Rabbi Shimon says, whoever has the money in his possession has the upper hand.
Okay. Ha'onah. Okay, talking about Onah now. Onah is uh, it's not exactly a prohibition. Uh, I mean, it does say Lo sonu ish Yisrael. You're not allowed to. Um, what's the al tonu ish Yisrael is achiv. Beg your pardon. Okay, which is overcharging. Um, And there's a definition given for how much is overcharging, which we'll see in the Mishnah. But basically, what happens is if there's a certain threshold at which you're above or below the market rate, at which a person is deemed to be overcharging, and at that point, the purchaser can demand a refund.
Hmm.
Okay, and we'll see more details about that over here. But this is the principle of ona is overcharging. Okay, so what is the threshold of ona? Says the Mishnah, ona arba kesef, 4 silver pieces me esrim arba kesef lesela. For at 24 silver pieces for a seller, right? Which basically means that if you've got six wait it's four silver pieces in a sorry so four dinars in a silver
Out
um
of four, out of 24. So
it's out of 24, so basically it's a sixth. It comes out as a sixth. um That is, yeah, it's four kesef in a seller, 6 kesef in a seller. So basically, arba kesef me'esim arba kesef l'seller. So basically, one is four out of 24, which is 1/6. So I could have said it much simpler. Okay, ad masai mutar lahachzir. So how long have you got to come back to the merchant and say, hey, you overcharged me? Ad kadesh yar'eh letagar or leprovo. He's got a certain time limit, enough that he could take it home, show it to his friends, or show it to a merchant and say, did I get overcharged for this? And then come back. And then after that, there's a statute of limitations. You can't come back a week later and say, hey, you overcharged me. It's got to be really bo bayom, basically. Hora nivman bo bayom. It's got to be within, it'll be measured in hours. Hora Rabbi Tarfon Belud. Now, Rabbi Tarfon in Lud made a certain ruling that was more generous, apparently, to the traders. Ha'ona shmone kesef lasela, shlish lemekach. Says that it's a third. You've got to overcharge by a third, not a sixth, in order to be liable to ona. Samchut Tagari Lud, and the merchant said, "Yeah." Amar lehem kol hayom mutar lahachzir, and he said, but I'm also going to be make a bigger measure on the amount of time that they've got to come back to you. And they said, so basically the whole day, not just an hour or so. Um, Okay, Amru lo yaniach lanu Rabbi Tarfon bimkomenu. And the merchant said, you know what? Rather shorten the time limit than the amount that we can overcharge. But Chazru l'divrei chachamim, and Lud reverted to what everyone else said. Echad halokech ve'echad hamocher. And overcharging applies both to the purchaser and the seller, which means that if the buyer manages to negotiate the seller down to more than a sixth under what's actually the going price, and the merchant didn't know that he was being underpaid, he can also claim ona. Yesh lahen ona. Kishem she'ona lehediot kach ona letagar. So the Tanakama says that you can have ona just to a normal person. You can also have ona from a tagar, a merchant, an expert a trader who knows the values of these things, and he can also be fooled. Rabbi Yehuda disagrees and says ein ona la tagar. He says nah, he doesn't have any excuse. He knows market prices, so he has no claims. Although the halacha doesn't follow Rabbi Yehuda. Mishehutal alav yado al ha'elyona. Whoever was victimized in this ona, whether it's the buyer or the seller, he has the upper hand. Ratza omelo teni ma'osi or teni ma'ashe onisani. He can say, I want to revert this transaction completely, give me a refund, here's your object. Or he can just say, listen, give me the difference between what I paid and the market rate. And he can ask for whatever he wants in this case. Kama tehea sela chasera. Okay, now coins back in the old days were not like our coins today that are perfectly minted and every one of them looks the same, and you're paying for the face value rather than the material value. In the old days, the material value of the coin was also a significant part of it. Although we said an asimon is worth less because that really is literally the material value. But yeah, even the stamped valued coins, they wear out and they become less valuable. Okay, so how much does this? Taking a seller coin, how much does it have to diminish below heba ona until you're actually liable for ona on giving over this coin to somebody? Rabbi Meir Omer Abba Asarin says 4 isarim, isar a dinar. Um, it's the four isarin. So an isar is um wait, isar is like 1/8, I think. Is that right? Isar a dinar. So 1/8 of why? Because a dinar is 6 ma'ot, a ma is 2 pundionot, and a pundion is 2 isarim. So it's 6 times 4 is 24. So basically, once again, isal a dinar, arba isarin isal a dinar. So basically, again, it's 1/6. Rabbi Yehuda Omer arba pundion la dinar. He said he doubles the amount. Rabbi Shimon Omer shmone pundios shnei pundion in a dinar. Each one has his own share of how much the coin has to diminish before it is no longer before you have to before it's considered ona. Okay, not a very practical halacha for our currency nowadays, but nonetheless. Okay, got 2 minutes to 8 o'clock. You want to start doing chazaras as much as you can.
Okay, so we were doing Bava Kama.
But Bava Metzia first. Let's go
Okay.
back to base.
Base. Come on. Base. There must be announced. These must be announced. If he found produce in a vessel or a vessel just as it is, money in a purse or a purse just as it is, piles of produce, piles of money, 3 coins one upon the other, small sheaves in the private domain, loaves of homemade bread, fleeces of wool taken from the craftsman's workshop, jugs of wines and jugs of oil, they must be announced. If behind the fence or behind the wall he found 2 young birds with their wings tied or in the paths of the fields, he should not touch them. If he found a utensil in a heap of garbage and it is covered, he should not touch it. If it is uncovered, he must take it and announce it. If he found objects in a heap of stones or an old wall, they belong to him. If he found objects in a new wall from the middle to the outside, they belong to him. From the middle toward the inside, they belong to the owner of the house. And if he rented it to others, even with the house, they belong to him. If he found things in the store that belonged to him, between the counter and the storekeeper, they belong to the storekeeper. If he found money in front of his money changer, they belong to him. Between the stool and the money changer, they belong to the money changer. If one purchases produce from another, or one another sends him produce, and he finds money inside it, it belongs to him. If it is tied, it must be taken and announced in the field.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, let's finish Kiddushin.
Okay. Oh, okay. I have here. Okay. We should be on Daled Yud Gimel.
Yep.
A bachelor may not accustom himself to be among the teachers, and a woman may not accustom herself to be among the teachers. Eliezer says one whose wife is living with him may not accustom himself to be among the teachers. Rabbi Yehuda says a bachelor may not herd cattle, and two bachelors may not sleep in the one garment. The sages, however, permit it. Anyone whose business is with women may not be alone with women. A man should not teach his son a trade which involves being among women. Rameya says a man should always teach his son a clean and light trade, and he should pray to the one to whom wealth and possessions belong, because there is no trade which does not include poverty and wealth. Where his poverty is not from the trade, or is from the wealth from the trade, rather all is in accordance to one's merit. When Shimon ben Elazar says, have you ever seen a wild animal or a bird which has a trade? Yet they're sustained without difficulty. They were created only to serve me, and I was created to serve my master. Does it not follow that you should be sustained without difficulty? However, I've corrupted my deeds and curtailed my subsistence. Reb Goria of Tazin, quoting Reb Goria, says, a man should not teach his son to be a donkey driver, a camel driver, a shepherd, or a storekeeper, because the trade is in the trade of robbers. Reb Yehuda, quoting him, says, most donkey drivers are evildoers, most camel drivers are righteous men, most sailors are pious men. The best of doctors go to Ham, and the righteous of animal slaughters is a partner with Amalek. Reb Nahari says, I shall abandon every trade in the world when I teach my son only Torah. For a man benefits from the rewards in this world, and the principle remains for the world to come. All trades are not so, and one cannot, not, I'm sorry, all trades are not so. When a man becomes sick, old, or afflicted, he cannot engage in his Torah. He dies of starvation. But Torah is not so. Rather, it guards him from all evil in his youth, and it provides him with benefit and hope in his old age. Regarding his youth, what does he say? And those whose hope is in Hashem shall renew their strength. Regarding his old age, what does it say? They will be fruitful in old age. And likewise, it says regarding our forefather Abraham, upon peace upon him. And Abraham was old, and Hashem blessed Abraham with everything. We find that our forefather Abraham fulfilled the entire Torah before it was given, as it said, because Abraham obeyed my voice and safeguarded my ordinances, my commandments, my decrees, and my teachings. Hadran
Hadran alach, Maseches Kiddushin, Hadran alach, Seder Nashem, and one Mishnah from Bava Kama.
Aleph Aleph.
Mhm.
Four primary damages are the bull, the pit, the mava, and the fire. The bull is not like the mava, and the mava is not like the bull. These two, which are living things, are a lot like fire, which is not a living thing, nor are these among whose manner go forth and damage, like the pit, whose manner is to go forth, not to go forth and damage. The common feature in them is that their manner is to damage, and they're responsible to watch them. And when it damages, the damager is obligated to pay for the damage with the best of the land.
Okay.
All right.
Are you still good for time?
Excuse me?
Are you still good on time?
Well, I'm almost 5 minutes. We have to go, right? Okay, yes, you said we have to go.
Okay.
I took them to the boss.
Okay.
Have a good show. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.